Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to Change the Questions, the show where we take a single question each week about professional wrestling and look at it with a thin lens or a thick lens. Thickest of lenses?
Fervor.
Most parabolically shaped.
What we try to do is it's like a bomb. We try to diffuse it and rewire it, and I don't know.
You're not supposed to rewire a bomb after you defused it.
No, I mean it's supposed to have.
And now you're just making a bomb.
No, it's supposed to have confetti and shit shoot out of it.
So this one's
a bomb that shoots confetti.
This one's going to be.
A unicorn that farts rainbows.
The first time that we are. We're calling this a revisited episode. We're actually going back to one of our earlier episodes and revisiting a topic that we had discussed previously because we feel like there's more to be had about the conversation, and also because you were not involved in that particular episode. You were sick that week.
I was sick at the time, and now I'm just getting over being sick again, so go figure.
You've been sick for this whole time.
It must be this topic that gets me physically ill.
So the question...
Because I have to talk about it.
The question that we are going to be discussing on this episode that we are revisiting is going to be the question that we asked back in episode 10, does kayfabe matter anymore? And you really wanted to get involved on this one, so that's why we're revisiting it.
Well,
and the thing is that, you know, the current state that we're in now is that kayfabe is a thing that still exists. Depending on the organization, it's differing levels. Lucha Underground, the kayfabe is very high. In WWE, it's kind of mixed.
There's a reason I have Mil Muertes as my profile and my cover picture right now, because that's an awesome shtick.
Right.
And Lucha Underground does it perfectly.
Yeah, I'm
getting excited already.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So we have Lucha Underground, which is on the far end of the kayfabe spectrum, which is like really
absurd.
Like it is its own world, and that's it.
Aliens.
You have WWE, which exists, which is kind of a mix where there's kayfabe, but then it brings in a lot of real world elements, and then you have something like New Japan Pro Wrestling,
Ring of Honor, New Japan,
which are very heavily just
sporty.
Yeah, they're kind of out of the spectrum of kayfabe, and a lot of outside things influence them. As a matter of fact, I'm currently, by the time you hear this episode, it will be out already. I'm writing my Invasion Attack recap, and for the New Japan Pro Wrestling show that happened on Sunday, and during the Tomohiro Ishii Hiroki Goto versus Evil and Bushi tag match, Steve Corino and Kevin Kelly actually reference the fact that Tomohiro Ishii has gotten so many 5-star ratings from Dave Meltzer this year, which drove me fucking crazy. And if you want to go read my opinions on it, you can go check out the article. But that's to give you an idea of, like, this is how far out of kayfabe New Japan is at this point. So where do you I guess you've kind of alluded to it already, but where do you feel kayfabe fits into all of this? And where do you think it should fit in the modern day?
Well, where it fits, like you said, Lucha Underground is very entertaining just because it's so absurd. I mean, look at the nunchuck battle, the nunchaku battle that happened probably 3 weeks ago. That was crazy, man, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was campy, silly, yet it was serious at the same time. It was done to perfection. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, I guess you can, but it's, you're supposed to sit back and look at this, have fun, and kind of enjoy it for what it is. But when you start to go and push something as... I mean, look at WWE. With Roman Reigns and Triple H and... look at The Miz. I'll bring up The Miz even. You look at the Don't Be a Bully, Be a Star campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have The Miz as a heel, and then he'll go out to a speech 3 days from him playing a top-level heel on television, and he's going to talk to these kids about not being a bully.
Yeah, and I mean, it was weird last year with WrestleMania 31 when Seth Rollins, he cashes in the Money in the Bank, wins the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, is the ultimate dastardly heel, and then the next morning he's on Good Morning America playing with puppy dogs.
I was going to bring that up. Exactly.
Very strange.
Yeah, I mean, but it was cute, wasn't it?
It was adorable.
It was adorable.
Absolutely adorable.
But somebody like Triple H, who is playing a top-level, badass, ass-kicking heel, going out, getting his face smashed in by Roman Reigns, getting a spear to the outside, and then 3 days later, opens up NXT as the biggest face in the company. there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor that Vince McMahon put a kibosh to that just a couple of days ago when Triple H was going to go into WrestleMania.
TakeOver Dallas, yeah. Triple H was going to open TakeOver Dallas like he has for the other shows, but they didn't want him to because he's a bad guy, and they didn't want that confusion, that conflicting message.
And it makes sense. Stuff like that makes sense. So, why is there such a disconnect? I get that they want the attention from the press, the positive attention, say, look, we're a friendly product, we're a family-friendly product, but there's a certain point where it's going to take away from your faces when you have heels intermingling with them. I mean, it's a new day. I get it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Bootios.
Okay, so let me. I totally get where you're coming from.
I'm not saying that they should travel separately on the road,
right?
But
I
have some consistency.
I get where you're coming from when it comes to the NXT WrestleMania thing, because those are both kind of in the show. But as far as like going out and doing like the Be a Star stuff or the Make-A-Wish things, or television appearances as like the champion going out and making the media rounds, how is that different than oh God.
Well, you know what?
I'm trying to think of like a good example for like a really Jared Leto going out and doing a media for Suicide Squad, even though he's the Joker in the movie. Like, how is that different?
Because it is emphasized that these guys are actors. I get that they're emphasized as being professional wrestlers, but it's a different dynamic.
So do you
professional wrestling has always come across like, I mean, let me clarify quick. If you want heels to do Make-A-Wish and you want heels to do Be a Star and all this stuff, just don't televise it. Don't televise them being featured. Bring them there.
But part of it, that is media exposure. That is why they're doing that.
I get it, but you know what? You want a disgusting heel to look likable? Come on. I mean, Jared Leto's not dressing up as the Joker when he goes to these press appearances.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Roman Reigns is being pushed as Roman Reigns. You're not seeing The Miz pushed as Mike Mizanin outside of the ring. You're not seeing.
Okay,
I'm just
all right. I get that. No. That's a good point. That's a good point.
You're not seeing Triple H pushes Paul Levesque when he's going to visit a kid in the hospital. No,
that's true. He's Triple H. You're right. I mean, it's not fair to compare actors and wrestlers. They're not the same thing. We've discussed that before.
I mean, they're very similar, but if you're going to keep pushing a personality outside the ring,
but here's another thing too. And this is, I looking at it more from a practical standpoint, is the heels, I mean, people, they get paid to do these appearances.
Yeah,
so
of course.
If we're going to deny The Miz the opportunity to make some extra money, I mean, heels don't get as much in terms of in terms of merchandising and stuff as it is. Are we going to deny them another revenue stream just for the sake of upholding a, what many will argue is an antiquated mindset? Or should we be denying them that for, this carny ass thing that a lot of people, say is holding wrestling back?
I don't know if it's holding wrestling back as much as it's.
Okay, so
as much as it's.
Here's another scenario,
making it interesting again. There's no way that if a guy's going to sell. Okay. Put asses in seats. He's going to put asses in seats, regardless of, which side of the fence he's on.
Right.
Now, it's a matter of trying to, like you said, merchandise, that's one thing. If they want to push merchandise out for somebody, if they're popular, whether they're heel or face, it's going to sell.
Okay. So, all right, you said that Jared Leto doesn't go out to the, to do media appearances as a Joker, but there are stories where guys like, Jared Leto or... the guy who plays Kylo Ren for Star Wars, they will dress
Adam Driver.
Driver, in their full regalia and go to like a children's hospital.
Yeah,
what's
his name? Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow.
Right. So like guys who are either whether it's good guys like Captain America or Iron Man, or even bad guys like them, they will go and do those appearances.
Yes.
Again, so how is that different? I mean, I get like the anti-bullying thing. Like, there's you make a good point there, like that one. But I'm just saying, like,
the
where's
way
the
this
difference?
is different. Johnny Depp going to the hospital as Jack Sparrow. He goes to the hospital as Jack Sparrow. He's dressed up in the regalia. He's dressed up as Jack frigging Sparrow. Mm-hmm. You look at Adam Driver dressed up as Kylo Ren. He goes to the hospital dressed up as Kylo Ren. Who else did you mention? I just wanted to emphasize that.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's a Joker? Yeah. Well, I mean, if he dressed up as a Joker, he's dressed up as the Joker. Right. Perfect example of somebody that you say, well, you know, what's the difference between this and that? Look at Christian Bale after the massacre that occurred 4 years ago in the movie theater.
Right.
There was a lot of people out there that were saying, you know, Christian Bale, you know, you should visit the hospital, see these people just to give them comfort. And you know what? He did. He went to these hospitals to give these people comfort that, you know, there's some people that lost their lives, some people that were injured. He went to go see the injured. He went to go see the people that were, you know, that were hurt by this incident, traumatic incident. And but he didn't dress up as Batman. He went as Christian Bale. He was the guy that played Batman. He gave them comfort.
I don't know. It's but that's.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you know, at the same time, if you're going to push...
Is the Miz, even though the Miz is the Miz, when he's going to do a Be a Star thing, he isn't like heel asshole Miz. He's just kind of a guy.
What's wrong with being Mike Mizanin? You know, what's wrong?
Because they don't use real names for... That's never been a thing.
Well, then why... So, all right, that's the kayfabe part. That's a mind blower, isn't it? It's like,
that's
well, what's this and this?
So are you saying that there should be more kayfabe and that they shouldn't do that, or that there should be less kayfabe and they should still do that, but they should not use their in-ring names for that? Like, I'm confused at the message. I'm saying
if you're going to do it, and you're going to do it on screen, go ahead. Fine. But if they're going to make these media appearances, I wouldn't even say media appearances. If you're going to go out somewhere, drop the name. If you're going to go out as, I don't know, let's say you got Kane going into the ring. Kane.
So when Charlotte's making her
what's wrong with Glenn Jacobs outside of the ring? I mean, if you're going to be pushing the guy as Kane outside of the ring, then you're pushing him as his character, and you're going to push this monster heel as a face out of nowhere.
It's an interesting. What you're saying effectively is that there should be. Kayfabe should be held to a stricter regard. There should be a more solid line. There should be a more solid line between kayfabe and the real world, in that you should not have... We're not pretending that this is the real world anymore, but we need to more clearly define what's fantasy and what's reality.
I mean, honestly, I think I think that's a good thing. I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead, because it's going to work a little better, you know? That's the thing that confuses kids. I mean, there was a story about a year ago with this kid. Triple H, you know, the heel, he blew up the crowd, and this kid got really upset. He brings the kid backstage, he says, look, it's all pretend, buddy, it's all fake. Fine. You know, whatever, but...
Well, like the thing with Izzy and Sasha Banks at the Iron Woman match.
And that too. Even a couple days ago when Bayley lost.
Right. But I mean, like the thing with Izzy where Sasha took Izzy's headband and threw it, and the kid was crying, and then afterwards she gave her flowers and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally, I totally get where you're coming from, and maybe that isn't a bad idea. And honestly, I think that maybe if they did that, people would be able to suspend their disbelief a little bit more. And like you said, like there is like that hard line with Lucha Underground.
They'd be able to separate that. These guys aren't who they are in the ring, but they're characters that they play on TV.
I've seen Pentagon Jr. do some really fucking bonkers Mexican TV appearances as Pentagon Jr.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're going to do that, you know, be the character.
Right.
You know,
so you think that there needs to be like a harder line, and maybe I can certainly see the merit to that. I just don't necessarily know if it's necessary.
I mean, why do you think these guys get their balls broken so much when they're seen out in public? Because people don't see them as people. They see them as the people they see in the ring and on television.
Or as something that they're not, pretending to be something that they aren't.
Exactly. Like I mean, they're characters. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I get that people want to keep up appearances, and the characters, you know, the guys playing the characters want to keep up appearances. That's fine. Mm-hmm. If you're okay with that, cool. That's fine. The Sheik back in the day, he would there was claims that he would bring pencils out of his, you know, wherever, and then he would spit fireballs at people because he's the freaking Sheik.
Right.
But it's a different day now, and, you know, people know what's going on. A lot of people should know what's going on, but they still don't, make the connection that, hey, Kevin Steen is in Disney World with his family, and that's another thing that's weird, is a lot of these guys are starting to use their real names, and that's kind of blending into their real lives with, the names and the characters together, where, Kevin Owens in the ring, Kevin Steen outside of the ring, at Disney World, he's got family time. Is he harassed by people? Possibly to take a picture. Maybe somebody shouts something at him. He's like, no, this is my family time. This is fine. That's just something that I think, there needs to be a certain line at some point just so people get it. That these are characters on television and these are the people playing them. I'm not saying to make a cast list at the end of every show of who was featured, but, just something to clarify people's minds a bit. And I guess if you go into professional wrestling, you should expect this kind of stuff, but at the same time, it is a different day. If we're going to, say we need kayfabe, then maybe we should just separate it from, the media appearance. I guess, there's a certain point where you have to separate the show from the real world.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Changing the Questions. We hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please be sure to head on over to Changing the Questions website, changingtheqs.com. That's www.changingtheqs.com. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. If you're listening to this on iTunes, be sure to leave us a nice review and a nice 5-star rating as well. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that at changingtheqs, at changingtheqs. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook. Just search for Changing the Questions there. And if you want to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do so at changingthequestions@gmail.com. Also, while you're at our website, please be sure to sign up for our newsletter, where you will get all of our posts throughout the day sent to your inbox every single day. And that's going to wrap it up. My name is Paul Laporte for Mike Miner.
Let's take it back to 98. Call me sick boy. Don't procrastinate.
We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.